movie Fight Club, there's a scene where the main character and Tyler Durden are sat in a bar discussing the main character's apartment, how he just lost it in an explosion, and along with it, all of his furniture. And the main character is explaining to Tyler that he was almost complete, that he had so many things that he had bought, and that he just lost it all in the blink of an eye. And that's when Tyler interjects and says, no, 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 no. These things have no value. These things are just things. In the hunter-gatherer sense, you don't need them for your survival. They don't add anything to your life. And in that monologue, he says, quote, "Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. What concerns me are celebrity magazines, television with 500 channels, some guy's name on my underwear," end quote. What he's essentially saying here is that through consumerism, we become disconnected from these real world problems, that we become subsumed in this plethora of entertainment and things and material, so much so that to the point that things like crime, poverty, and war don't concern us anymore. It seems that even though most of us recognize the destruction of modern society in terms of environment, political unfairness, the low wages for the high amounts of unfulfilling work that we have to do, the farthest our activism goes is protest, and that's even if it gets to that point. Usually what happens is we consume all this content on, capitalism, on how the rich are doing all these bad things, how the corporations are manipulating us and controlling our democracy, how they're all these things, right? We understand all of that. And yet the farthest that our activism goes is protest. What we usually do instead is just stay inside, keep playing our video games, and accept that that's how it is. We say that things need to change. We say that somebody needs to do something, but we stay in our homes and follow the same routine day in and day out of get up, go to work, do what boss tells us, come back, maybe go out and socialize, maybe go out and party, go out to eat with friends, or if not, the more likely thing that we do, which is stay home, consume content, be lazy, watch more of those anti-capitalist videos, and rinse and repeat. This happens because we are comfortable and secure. If you are in a state of comfort and security, then there is no reason for you to get up and demand more from society. Even if you know that things like war are a problem, even if you know of the malpractices of corporations, even if you know of the exploitation and all these things, it does not feel like that to you because your life is comfortable and secure. It may be unfulfilling, yes, but if you're in a state where you're not in physical pain, where you're not seeing like death and sickness in front of you, then it becomes very easy for you to see the reality of the world and to just kind of accept it, even though you know that it's wrong, even though you know that they have to, that like those things have to change. Because you're in a state of security, you can accept it more easily. Now, of course, what follows is a deeper discussion on sublimation and desublimation, which I've talked about before in other videos. But for now, like for this video, I just want to focus on that aspect of why we're so inactive. It happens because we are comfortable and secure, and thus we become disconnected from those bigger issues. Think of it like this. When we talk about climate change, we can accept that climate change, like in a purely logical sense, in a purely objective sense, we can say that climate change is bad, right? But in terms of what we feel, we don't feel very connected to that problem. We don't feel the desperation to fix that problem now because it's so distant from us. It's a huge, large-scale problem. It's not just within our community. The effects are not immediately visible, right? the research on climate change is not new. Like, this has been out for a minute now. I think if I look up, there was this article that I have right here, the Great Nutrient Collapse. This came out 2017. And yet, it took us this long to just begin accepting that climate change needs to be fixed, for that to be like a mainstream thing. Because, of course, yeah, you can say that progress takes time and knowledge takes time. Of course, yes. But I don't think that that's the only reason it took us this long. It wasn't just because humans naturally take a long time to progress in knowledge. I think it's because larger scale problems like nuclear warfare, like climate change, environmental degradation, concepts like freedom, for many of us, they're too large scale and too abstract to really connect with and want to do something about them. And this even applies in the self-improvement space as well. I'm mainly talking about these problems in the political aspect, but in terms of self-improvement, the same thing can happen, where your comfort with your routine, with your progress, can lead to you being stagnant and not really pursuing more. You might have gotten to a point where you're just satisfied with your body, satisfied with your income, satisfied with your philosophy progress. And then you just kind of plateau and you don't want to keep going up, which in some cases it's fine. Like, you don't need to constantly go up and up and up without purpose. But in terms of philosophy and wisdom, there's always more to expand on that. There's always more to learn from life. But if you get used to a certain way of thinking, if you get used to a certain type of literature, a certain philosopher that you just always read and get information from, you can get complacent. You can start to get closed-minded over time because you're so focused on sticking to what you know instead of being open and willing to receive knowledge and wisdom from other people. So how do we prevent security from deluding us? How do we prevent comfort from keeping us in this complacent state? Well, there are a few things we can do. The first thing is to get exposure to these problems in real life. If you just stay in your house and you watch videos on capitalism and all these real world events, and yet you don't go and see any of this yourself, or try to see any of this yourself with your own eyes in real life, then you're never going to feel as connected to the problem as somebody who does experience it directly. Experience will always outweigh knowledge. Wisdom is always going to be worth more than knowledge. So focus on attaining that. Knowledge is not bad by any means. Knowledge is just as necessary, but without wisdom, without experience, without actually living life, the knowledge is worthless. The knowledge doesn't do anything for you. It just kind of is added to the pile of junk, So that's the first thing. Get exposure to these problems. Talk to people who have experienced like the effects of these real world problems. And then you'll get to really connect with these people and really see why it's an issue. The next thing is to stop consuming entertainment, and along with that, to make the content you watch related to the real world. So I know I was just saying how consuming content for the sake of gaining knowledge is pointless, but that doesn't mean that content in general and information in general are useless, that we shouldn't be consuming any type of content. Well, that's just not true, because otherwise we can't learn about these things. The type of content you consume is extremely important. The type of content that you consume constantly is going to be the thing that your thoughts fixate on the most. If you're consuming brain rot and you're watching all these like memes and fucking try not to laugh challenges, your brain is going to have all that entertainment in mind constantly. Your brain is going to reference that constantly. If you are consuming information on politics, information on climate change, whatever it may be, right? Those types of topics, nuclear warfare, what politicians are saying, what politicians are doing, what corporations are doing. That's what your brain is going to automatically go to when you see things that connect to those topics. You're going to see those things in the real world more often because you were just studying them. When you watch entertainment, as we said earlier, you are in a state of complacency. You're in a state of comfort and security. You're happy. You don't need to be concerned about the real world problems because you're entertained right now. You're comfortable. Like, why would you give a shit about that? And even if you did give a shit, why would you go out and do anything about it? Why would you go out and try to fix them in some capacity if you're already comfortable where you are? So that's the next thing. Stop watching entertainment. Stop diluting your conscience into, or your consciousness into these funnels, into these forms of media which are designed to sap you of energy, to keep your attention constantly fixated on them. So that's going to be all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree. There's actually going to be one more point I wanted to make at the end, but it was like a thought that came by and I completely forgot. Is there anything else I want to say? I don't think there is. I think that as of now, I have no announcements. Soon I am going to be getting because I just got my passport, so now I can actually set up my bank account and all that. So soon that Patreon will be coming out. I've been waiting to do this for so long. All of you guys know when that is out. Other than that, I guess there are no announcements. So yeah, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.